Hey, it's Dave Dolphin at practicalworshipblog.com, sharing ideas, tips, and practical advice for the everyday worship leader. Today, we're talking about redundancy, and today we're talking about redundancy. This idea of Murphy's Law that if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. And in our line of work, where we're dealing with lots of technology and computers and things that can crash and things that can break like 10 minutes before the service starts, we need to have a plan. We need to have maybe additional gear or policies, or when we're making purchases for other parts of the building, how can we be smart? How can we think ahead at some of these fail points and have a plan so that when it happens, not if, we are not caught off guard. So what I want to do is take you around our building and show you some examples of where we've looked at areas that could fail on us and what is the plan, what's the procedure so that we can quickly get back up and running. So here at front of house in our main auditorium, we have audio, and for audio we use the Midas M32 for our audio desk. And then over here is where our lights position is. This is the ProPresenter computer for the triple wide screen in the middle, and then we use this older ColorTram board for lights. But we also have an auditorium for our students, for our youth, and they use for their audio desk a Behringer X32. And for lights, they use a smaller version of that ColorTram. So in the event that any of this gear fails, either in this room or in the main auditorium, you have something that you can pick up, bring to the other location, plug in all the cables, load your show file, and within 10 minutes or so, be up and running. You have to buy this gear anyway. The primary reason that this board is here is to serve this room. But if you plan ahead and you think smart, you can also add the functionality that it can be a quick backup for an additional auditorium. Now here at the drum position, we try to think through what could fail on us, and if you were to lose a cymbal or maybe bust through a head on a tom, you could probably make it through a set. But a kick drum and a snare drum is pretty essential to any song you're going to do on a Sunday morning. And so what happens if you break your pedal or you bust through a head on a snare drum? Well, we have extras within reach that the drummer can grab even in the middle of a set and be good to go. Now, when we bought this snare drum, because we liked the sound of it, we still had the original snare drum to the set. Now, it's not as deep as I would like it, but any snare drum is going to be better than no snare drum at all. And same thing on the pedal. We have an extra pedal sitting off to the side. It's kind of broken, which is why it's over here. But in a pinch, it can work. Again, this is as we're making purchases, we're just being smart, and we are putting it within arm's reach of the drummer so they don't have to go in the back and find it or anything else. It's just within 30 seconds, you can be up and running. So backstage, we have accumulated some gear over time. We have some extra sustain pedals for keys in the event that we break one of those. We've got some extra sticks in the case that we break some of those. Up here, we have an extra MIDI controller that was left over from something else that we have ready to go in the case the one on stage breaks. An extra tom drum there, here, part of that kit. In here we have guitar strings, we need those. Down in here, so this pedal, this drive pedal is the same exact one that we have on the pedal board for the main electric guitar position. I saw a guy selling this on Facebook for dirt cheap, and I just jumped on it because if you can have one, you might as well have two. There is an extra capo if you need that. And then over here, speaking of guitar, here is the amp that we use for that position, the one on the left. But this one on the right here was one that we just happened to find in our student ministry. It was just laying around, no one was using it. And we went ahead and took the time to put it into position, have it ready to go, spend some time getting a close enough tone on it so that in the event that we had to switch, from this one, let's say a tube blows or something like that, and we had no time for a sound check, service is going to start in 10 minutes, we can switch the cables over here, and we know that we're relatively close in terms of sound and tone and how loud it is, that any minor tweaks that need to happen can happen as the set is going on. So here at the live keys position, we run two computers. We have a laptop here that runs main stage, and then there's a Mac Mini down there that is running Ableton Live for our tracks. And I've actually already made a video that talks specifically about the redundancy in this area, and that in the case that one of these computers crashes using Dropbox to sync files and things like that, what the plan is. Here's the funny thing. After I made that video, we were testing the procedure, and come to find out, it's flawed because part of the procedure was, the plan was to use both of the audio interfaces. We have this blue one here is what runs main stage, and the red one down there is the one that runs our tracks. Well, apparently main stage doesn't like having to compete with another audio interface, and what we were discovering is with both interfaces plugged into one computer, it didn't happen right away, but over time you would play a note and then main stage would actually make the sound, and that's not good. And so what we did is we changed the plan. When we route the channels for our tracks, we have intentionally left these two open, 1 and 2. And so in the event that one of the computers crashes, the plan is we're going to use one audio interface, and it's going to be the audio interface for both main stage and the tracks. Now we've already thought through it, we've already planned the routing. All we have to do is take these two channels, move it over there, make one change in the main stage program in the audio interface, and we're up and running. We're not messing with a bunch of Ableton files and trying to reroute things on the fly. We're trying to think in that panic, that 5 minutes before service, how can we make it as easy as possible because we thought through it beforehand instead of when you need it. Like for example, when you get a flat tire on your car, the worst thing that can happen is when you go for the spare and it's flat. You need to check those things beforehand. So that's just a few ways that we've tried to think ahead at some of the fail points in our service so that when that particular piece of equipment fails, we have a plan. We know what we're going to do and service can continue on. Here at Practical Worship, we love sharing ideas and tips and practical advice for the everyday worship leader with videos just like this one. So if you enjoyed this, consider subscribing to the channel. That way you know when new videos come online here at YouTube every single week. And if this was helpful to you, it might be helpful to someone else that you know. Consider sharing it on social media, on Facebook and Twitter and places like that. And for more great practical advice, check out practicalworshipblog.com.